Good afternoon, and thank you for coming to our presentation, and thanks to Internet too for including us in the program. My name is Ivana Golub. I work for Poznan Supercomputing and Networking Center, which is a Polish NREN, and together with my colleague Maria Isabel, we will present network development in the GEANT project. So for those of you that might not be fully familiar what GEANT is, this is the collaboration of European National Research and Education Networks, or NRENs, on delivering an information ecosystem on infrastructure and services for researchers and education and innovation on a global scale. One way how we are doing this, it is through the GEANT project, and GEANT project is done through a long-standing and highly collaborative relationship with the European Union, and through the GEANT project, NRENs and GEANT are providing stable and innovative environment for research, education, and innovation. Current generation of the GEANT project is GEANT 5.1. It has 400 contributors from 37 R&E partners, and we are targeting 50 million users as our audience. It is a relatively big project. It has 9 smaller projects, which we call work packages, and the one that we will talk about today is a network development work package. So we will cover a lot of topics today that we can structure into 3 groups. One is development, production services, and collaboration. And we won't be able to go into details, but the 2 of us will be here by the end of the conference, so feel free to ask any questions or provide your comments. We'll be very happy to hear that. So looking at the areas where we are still developing or looking for possibilities for services and offers that we can provide to our users, we will cover 4 topics. The first one related to optical time and frequency networks. So online with the redefinition of second as an SE unit, which can only be transferred using optical networks, several NRENs already are providing time and frequency services using their optical networks, PSNC being one of them. So within the project, we were looking at the possibilities to interconnect these current existing islands and to provide time and frequency services on a cross-domain and in a multi-domain manner. So this was our focus in the last few years of the project, looking as well as monitoring and calibration solutions and preparing the learning material that within Network E Academy that Maria Isabel will talk more about later. However, last year we went a little bit further and did what we call incubator project, where we actually created 3 options for such a network. Options differ based on the amount of budget that would be needed to construct and deliver such networks. And we have also defined a Pathfinder link, which is currently being put in place to test and pilot such a cross-domain connection. That pilot link goes between Braunschweig in Germany and PSNC. And the report with all the other findings you can find linked from this slide. Another area is quantum technologies, and currently in Europe, a lot of entrants are occupied with their national EuroQCI or quantum communication internet projects. So within the project, we were looking at the possibilities how to support these entrants. We were doing that through creating a knowledge hub, creating training material, writing documents like the one on QKD concepts and considerations. Another area that we are working on as a development part is developing an open source router operating system for R&E use cases, which we call RARE. Currently, it's supporting 6 different data planes with numerous features, and if you follow this first link on the slide, you will see a table like the one on the right-hand side where you can actually see which features are supported for which each of the platforms. But we are not doing just that, developing an open source software and testing it locally. We are also testing it starting first from what we call the GEANT P4 lab, which initially consisted of just 4 switches, now has 8 switches that are owned by the GEANT, both through the GEANT project, and they are placed in several cities in Europe. However, since a lot of interest has been recorded within the community, very quickly it expanded to several, more than 10, 15 locations, with the aim that was twofold. One was to test the rare software, so to use it to test the software that we have created, but another was just to use the platform as bare metal equipment where they could then install their own software and test the software. This was also recognized in the group in the working group of the GNAG, the Data Intensive Science and the AutoGoal Sense working groups. So today this network has more than 30 locations, and we are referring to as a global P4 lab. So as mentioned in the previous presentation, to create a P4 lab that could be used for testing, this is exactly something that might be of interest. Let's now look at some production services that we offer. The first one that we will mention is NMAS. This is network management as a service. This is actually a portfolio of networking applications, network management applications, that are run as a dedicated cloud-based per-user instance. In essence, it is Kubernetes with Dockerized images of different applications. Then a user can then fire up, install what they need, and use for their purpose for network management. However, we have recognized that this platform can be used for some other use case, and this is for universities when they want to provide some university labs. So again, similarly for your students, set up individual instances to run specific labs. And currently we have 2 pilot courses, both running at St. Cyril and Methodius University in Skopje, North Macedonia, with 2 use cases. One is for IT service management and another one is for network security. NMAS might be used either through the platforms that we provide as a part of the GEANT project, but as well might be self-hosted, which means that anyone can use this open source software, install on their own equipment, and use it as needed. So below you have the links, so if anyone is interested, can contact us. Another thing that is provided is what we call MAT, which is a single source of truth for network automation. In essence, if you want to do a good network automation, you need to have 2 types of inventories. One is service inventory and another one is resource inventory. So MAT is an element that offers both of these inventories, and currently it is used internally for PSNC network, but also used for the GP4L, and it is made available in NMAS. Persona is well known. I don't need to talk about it in this community, just to mention that we are collaborating in the development team, but also we have installed Persona on 30 location in our network, and you can see on the map where these nodes are, and it is creating performance measurement platform that we use on one side to explore the performance of the GEANT backbone, but as well for us to as a test lab for managing Persona nodes. TimeMap is another monitoring solution that is provided as a part of our project. Claudio is here in the audience. He is the lead of this service and the initiator of the idea. It provides per segment latency and jitter monitoring. Currently at the GEANT core network, it is based on TWAMP provided on Juniper routers. Argus is an alarm aggregation and correlation tool which helps in case when there are multiple network monitoring tools that are generating alarms, and instead of managing each one of them on a separate dashboard, it can be used to aggregate all the alarms and then either redirect them through any of the communication channels and deal with them as a part of a NOC. And I will now hand over to Maria Isabel to talk about the Network E-Academy.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ivana. Well, I'm going to give you an update of the Network E-Academy. We have presented the Network Automation E-Academy and the Network E-Academy in the past in this community. And to summarize, the Network E-Academy is a lot of resources, sorry. It's a group of resources we offer to the research and education community to let them improve their skills around several topics. Starting with network automation, probably the most popular part of the Network E-Academy is the training, but we are also now working on quantum training and also OTFN training. We have several tracks. As I said, we started with automation, orchestration, virtualization, quantum technologies, optical time and frequency networks, and now we're working on artificial intelligence also to be included in the automation, orchestration, and virtualization part. This is the metro map. We created this when we started working on orchestration, automation, and virtualization to offer a path that learners could follow in an easy way. So for instance, if they just wanted an introductory lesson or something about knowing a little bit about automation, they could follow the green line. The green line crosses all the other lines, and it's just a little bit of introduction of each one of them. If you want to go into the details of net DevOps or production or the automation, then you follow the lines that have different colors, and you can jump from one line to another as if you were in a real metro map in real life. All the learning units are done with a Creative Commons license. They are open, they can be copied. You can access them through EduGain, or if you don't have an EduGain account or in common account, you can use social networks, social media users and passwords. But now we're working also on a second metro map, and it's a completely different target. If you're a network engineer that works with the network and want to know more about automation, orchestration, virtualization, you follow the previous one. But if you want to know more about quantum, then we're starting to work on it. And the first thing, the introductory thing in quantum is you go back to university and remember about algebra. There is a lot of algebra in quantum, because if you want to know how teleportation works, you need to know about multiplying matrices and applying variants, and well, you need to look at algebra very much. So the introductory line in this case is about algebra, but then you can also follow other tracks about quantum communication and quantum computing, etc. Also, everything with Creative Commons licenses and accessible via EduGain. We have published 3 units at the Quantum E-Academy so far. For the Network Automation E-Academy, I forgot to mention the last thing we have added to the Network Automation E-Academy is a unit about GEANT, the global network automation tool from Global NOC. It's an external collaboration. It's a square in the map. So if you find squares in the map, these are external collaborations or external links. If you find round station, this means this is a Moodle lesson. Then we also work from time to time on a terminology documentation. This means that we try to have a common ground for understanding, because when we started working on orchestration, automation, and virtualization, we realized that some people talked about virtualization or automation using like different concepts. So we try to have several definitions, and this is like a document with many definitions and glossary to bridge the terminology gap in the community also, and to structure all this information on OAV, artificial intelligence, maturity model, etc. And this document is published in collaboration with the GNAG Automation Working Group. The the next one is architecture. While we started to work on automation, there was also a need for a common architecture to be able to compare a network with another network, a service with another service. So what we did was to study a lot of architectures, and then we finally found out that it was quite complicated to have a technical architecture that was the same for everybody, because each end-run works at its own pace. But this is a functional architecture, and a functional architecture means that, okay, any company, any entity, and a research and education institution has the same functional blocks. They speak with people and organizations outside. They have like a why they do that, why they do things inside their organization, the what, the how. So these blocks are also the blocks that we use for the metro lines in the network map, in the network automation e-academy map. For instance, for intelligence management, this is where closed loops happen. This is where artificial intelligence would be. And in the middle, the coupling and integration part would be the APIs that connect one block with the other one. Having this blueprint, this architecture helps us because, because if you compare, for instance, the NMAS architecture that Ivana talked about, when they built their architecture and they were showing how they were working, they used the image on the left side. But if you put all the blocks on the right side, on this blueprint, then it is, well, you have the same structure for everybody. So if, for instance, then you compare SPA, on the right side, you have the architecture they built. On the left side, you have the architecture map to the TM Forum Open Digital Architecture. If you compare the previous architectures they had, it's impossible. You cannot compare them because they are very different. But if you compare the mappings, you realize they use EduGame for the same. You realize they use several components that are the same. So the idea here is to align efforts, find commonalities, and ways to collaborate and interoperate in the future because they are able to compare. So far, we have mapped or we have analyzed the architecture of 7 entrants and also 4 services in the NetDev team. We have also studied other use cases. There is a white paper out there that you can see and find all these 5G, EOS, GETC, GANA, etc. mappings. Next thing is a maturity model, orchestration, automation, and virtualization maturity model. This is a self-assessment tool to be able to see where you are and where you would like to be. There are 4 dimensions, 31 subdimensions, and several stages. And for each one of the subdimensions, you can know in which stage you are with the help of a survey that you have here. So here you find if a subdimension has a very low mark, maybe you want to do something about it. It's going to really make you see what are your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities to improve, and the threats. So if you fulfill the maturity model now, and you fulfill it in 1 year, you will see the differences. You will see if you have improved in each one of the subdimensions. It's a way to self-assess. We only send the individual responses to the person who has answered the survey. This is not something we publish. We can publish aggregated or average statistics, but that's it. This is a report for you, and I would like to invite you to do it. It's not short, okay? Take 1 hour at least to fulfill this maturity model, but it's a way to do a diagnostic of your own network. We also have the incubator. Ivana talked about it. This is because when we start the GEANT project, each one of the versions of this GEANT project, GEANT 5.1, GEANT 5.2, GEANT 4.3, we have a document of work. It's very close. You need all the resources to be just classified, and everything is there. But if you want to include more work while you are in the project, that's very complicated. So that's why the incubators exist, to be able to include new work during the project, and that is also something relevant for the network development. Any proposal needs to be smart. This is specific, measurable, achievable, resource, and time-bound. And it has to have interest from the community. It has to be a proposal that comes from the community and with manpower from the world that they want to spend working on that. The last incubator project we have and that has started recently, is the workflow orchestrator telemetry module, but we also had an optical time and frequency one, and we're working on a fiber sensing project. Finally, collaboration. As well as having the project and our own services, we also collaborate with other groups. For instance, the special interest groups. GEANT has these special interest groups, these groups of people that meet together, have like their own small community to talk about a topic in particular. If you see the purple part, networking, there are two of them. The CSUC, the Special Interest Group on Network Operation Centers, and the CSUC-NGN, the Special Interest Group on Next Generation Networks. If you want to go and subscribe to the mailing list, it's open to the research and education community. You can also do it. The links are in each one of the pages. One of the things that the CSUC does is asking the community from time to time what tools they use depending on the functionality. We cover 16 functions, and we ask about which monitoring tools, problem management tools, ticketing tools, etc. they use. This is not something we do every year, but more or less every 4 years. And with that, we do reports. We have a report with all the statistics, and we publish a metrics. The report contains these graphs you see here for each one of the tools. The importance and the rating are represented, and the bigger the ball, the more people use this. So if a ball is very big, this means this is a tool that many people use. It can be very important or very high rated or not. For instance, for monitoring, Grafana is used everywhere, even if it's more for graphical representation. But there are other tools that don't have so many users, maybe are well rated. So we try to put everything here. And for the matrix, if you go to a functionality and to a tool, and you have a number, this is the number of institutions that use it. If you click inside this number, you will see the list of institutions that use that tool and have said that they want to be included in the report. Another example, this is fun because we talk a lot about telemetry. Maybe this is not the best graph, but the report has nicer graphs. And yes, we talk about telemetry, but the number of people who uses telemetry so far is very small. We have SNMP is still leading the way for monitoring. We use SNMP a lot, and then also flow monitoring-based tools and syslog handling tools. Interestingly enough, if you monitor your network, on average, you're using 11.5 tools, a lot of them. For SNMP, for flow monitoring, for syslog, different tools that use SNMP, but several things in different ways. The average was 11.5. For ticketing, the average was 1. There are not so many tools for ticketing. You have OTRS, as remedy. There is a lot of information in the report. I invite you to take a look. If you have any questions about the report, ask us. You will see there is a mix of open source, vendor-based, and distributed tools there. And you will see also that even if there are many tools for resource and inventory management, Excel file. The Excel file still strikes. It's very, very commonly used. We would like to see more open source tools there, but we see the reality. This is really what they are using, what the NOCs are using. You have the report in the link here. And you can also join us in Helsinki for the next CSUC meeting in May. The link to the registration is here. We also go global and collaborate with the GNAG, the Global Network Advancement Groups, and with the Global Research Platform, GRP. You have heard about GNAG these days a lot, so I'm not going to go into the details of GNAG. You probably know about it, and if not, you can ask David, you can ask Ivana, and they will probably have much more information. And for GNAG, the modus operandi is there are working groups that work in different topics established by the leadership team, and there are community meetings, and this is a global organization, so we try, or the GNAG tries to have as much as people as possible having this difference with the time zones that it's not always easy to achieve. So for instance, there are 2 different meetings, the same meeting with the same presentations, but in different time zones, so that everybody can join. The idea is to communicate, to contribute, and collaborate. These are the leadership team people. Here, one of them. Here is Ivana. You can ask her about GNAG and the list of working groups we have and the next meetings. For GRP, this is the global research platform. We're also collaborating with them. This is an initiative from American universities, where we are also working to have this global partnership, not just working in our own silo, but being able to collaborate together and have a distributed infrastructure to support data-intensive science workflows. The GRP meetings are usually located or back-to-back with other events like IEEE, supercomputing, et cetera. And the topics have to do with science, with large-scale global science, next-generation research platforms, et cetera. Last but not least, Metronova. Metronova is a recently created consortium for advanced network observation, visualization, and analysis. So Metronova aims to create a measurement and analysis toolbox for research and education networks worldwide. Again, the link here, this is an initiative from ESNet, GEANT, the Global NOC, Internet 2, and TAC. And finally, the forthcoming events. If you want to join any of these events, some of them are online, some of them are face-to-face. The only one that has a registration fee is TNC, but if you want to join the SIGNOC or the European Persona User Workshop, this is also a possibility. And that would be it from our side. Do you have any questions about any of the 100 topics we have talked about today? Too much?
Hey, I really enjoyed the presentation. When will we be able to use the P4 testbeds?
It can be used already. So this testbed exists across 30-ish locations. So as a part of the testbed, there are 8 nodes that are managed by us. All the other nodes are managed by organizations that own them. But so far, other than our nodes were used for experiments. So I would suggest to reach out. And I think that on the here is the mailing list for sure that you can use to reach us, but also at the slides which are available through the website of this conference, you might be able to contact us.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Then I will get in contact.
Yes. So we are currently related to the test bed. We are working on several things. One is automation of the configuration and management of the whole platform, and another thing is a booking system. But also as a part of GP4L and together with NMAS, some other possibilities like creating digital twin of your network or testing features or some other options is something that it is typically used for. So we can exchange the contacts after this.
Of course.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Another question. I see that you put a lot of different ticket support systems there. Redmine didn't come to even play a role there?
Well, in fact, we only include in the survey the tools that are used by one or more institutions in the previous survey.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, Redmine was there, but there was only one answer for Redmine.
Oh, yes.
And that's why it's not in the graph. We have a list of tools that people can choose. If a tool is mentioned by more than one institution in the black box, then it's included in the next survey.
Okay,
or if there is a new tool that everybody in the community thinks we need to add, then we add them. But we don't put in the survey tools that have only been answered by one institution, because there are many of them. And it's a way to just
I mean, it's just because we use it, so this is why I was guessing.
Well, maybe if you answer the survey next time, there will be 2, and we will answer. We will include them in the next. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to add, there is always an option for other. So people can always write in, even if it is not offered as one of the options, they can write it in, and then automatically it is being considered for the next survey. Yeah. So looks like our time is up. thank you all very much for joining and for taking pictures. Hopefully it looks like a future follow-up, so looking forward to it, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.
Thank you.